Okay, everyone, welcome to today's class. Today we're going to be talking about blocks and tables. Yes, we're going to be talking about blocks and tables, and this is very crucial in your drawing management if you're trying to manage your drawings. Okay, first of all, let's talk about blocks. And if you look at this drawing, okay, what's happening? Can you see my screen, by the way? If you can see my screen, please use the chat box. Can you see my screen? If you can see my screen, please use the chat box. Okay, okay. Now let's get started. If you notice, especially for the door illustration and the illustration I use for the windows here in this drawing, you see that all these lines are segregated. They are not together. And if I want to repeat these lines, that means I'll have to redraw them or copy these lines one after the other. And that can be very, very tasking. There is something called blocks in AutoCAD, and with that, you can organize your drawings in such a way that, okay, if you want to edit any of these illustrations or any of these objects, you can just go to the blocks and edit them. And if you edit one, let's say for the windows, I have these two windows are alike. So I can just create a block with one of them. I'll have to delete this one. For example purposes, I'll delete this one. And I can just create a block with this one. And let's say I go to create block. That's how to create a block. You highlight the object you want to create a block with. In this case, I'll just highlight these lines that shows the details of that window. And I'll go to create block like so. Click on create block and to bring up one dialog window. Yes, to bring up this. So now with this, I can name the block. In this case, I'll name it window. And the type of window, that's window 750. That means the width is 750. And there are some other things I need to actually edit right here. So I'm just going to select the base point. I've talked about what base point is. So I'll just pick from the screen. I have to select it as my base point. This base point means that whenever I am calling this block, whenever I am trying to insert this block, this is where I will pick the block from. So I'm just going to select this place as the base point, and it will bring up the window for me to continue editing the properties of that block. So now, if I had not selected the block, with this option right here, I can actually select the objects I want to add to that block definition. So I'll still do that again, just to illustrate it, and it will take me back after I use the enter on my keyboard. So now, here is an option. Either you want to retain the line. What this means is that, okay, if you create this block, these lines will still be as lines. They will not be converted to blocks, while the block definition will be created and will be stored at where you can access the block from. That's the first one. The second one will convert this existing line, these existing lines that are here to blocks, to a block rather, to convert these lines to a block. And that's what we have here, and that's what is selected. And the next one is the delete option. It means that it will create the block definition and delete whatever geometry was here before. So we're going to select the middle one, which is convert to block, because I want to just convert this to a block. Okay, so that is it. If you want to add further description to your block, you can add that here. And this one also, if you want to make your block annotative, I talked about annotative and non-annotative geometry the last time. So if you want to make it an annotative, you can select this, but I don't want to make the block annotative. And this is what I want to allow exploding. Sometimes you might decide that, okay, you don't want anybody to explode this block after you've created it. And we all know what the explode command does. It breaks apart the elements of any object. So we don't want we want to allow exploding. That means in the future, if I want to explode this block and do some other thing with it, this option will help me do that. So the block unit, of course, is in millimeters. You can choose any of the block units you want. But for this case, I will use millimeters. And then we're good. So I'll just click OK to create a block. Now you see, these lines were 3 in number. And if I just hover around it, you will see a difference. You see that all of them are now together. And it will show a title there that says block reference. If you can see the block reference, please use the chat box, say yes. If you can see the block reference, please use the chat box, say yes. You cannot see the block reference. Wow, jump on. Watch again. Can you see the block reference, John Paul? Okay. Okay, we'll continue. So now this has been created to a block. It has been converted to a block rather. So now we can access the block from our block manager here or the block panel from the ribbon. We can just go to insert and we have our block created, Windows 750. So whenever I want to insert this window, I just click on this and I can insert it anywhere. So I can decide to rotate it if I want to. I can say, okay, rotate by 90 degrees, enter, and you see it like so. And then I place it where I want to place it. I can say, okay, place it here. And we have it like so. So we have that. Of course, it's upside down. I'll just have to mirror it. Mirror this. I'll select the midpoints here. And go this other way. Yes. So we have that block definition there. So as a rule of thumb, how I duplicated it, I did not duplicate it. Okay. I will repeat that. I will repeat the process again. But this time I will use the door. Okay, let's say we have this geometry. Let me just highlight this and move it out. I'll move it out from this space and take it from here down to this place here. And keep it here. Let's say we have this object here. And you can see that this is made of different lines and an arc. This is an arc, and we have different lines like so, that made up this particular geometry or this object that I use to illustrate my door. In this case, I want to create a block because as a rule of thumb, if you must use anything more than once in your drawing, it is always advisable to create it as a block. Do you understand this? Did you hear me? I said, if you must use anything more than once, as a rule of thumb, it is always advisable to create a block with that particular object. Any object that you are going to repeat in your drawing, make sure you create a block with it so it will be very easy to access. So now, since I am going to be using, since I'm going to be repeating doors and, you know, I'll need a door here. I'll also need another door right here to access this other room. And because I will be needing this particular door, this one is of width 900. So I will have to create a block with this door. Do you understand? Please, if you understand, use understood. Just type understood. Okay, so now I'm going to continue. First of all, there are 2 ways to do this. Like you all know, it's either I highlight it first before I create, I select the create block option, or I click on create block option. And from the dialog menu, I'll come and select the geometry I want to create a block with. So first of all, pick point, I'll select my pick point. And in this case, I'll select this place as my pick point. And I'll select that place as my pick point. And the next thing, oh, I want to change my pick point this time. Let me select, I'll select not the center. I'll select this endpoint as my pick point. So now the next thing, I want to select the object because the object is not selected in this case. I will go over here and highlight the object like so, then hit enter. Then there are other things I need to set up to finalize it. I need to name the block definition. In this case, it's door, and the door is of width 900. So I'm just going to use door 900 as the name. So the next thing, I don't want it to be annotative. I want to convert it to a block, or in this time, I just want to delete the one on screen and create a block definition. So I will make it like so. And the next thing, I would like to allow exploding. If you can see right here, we have total of 5 objects selected. It means that this block is made up of 5 objects. And after the creation of the block, it will become a single object. Just watch me as I continue. So we're done with stuff. Maybe we can just add a little description and say, okay, this indicates a door of width 900. So I can use that as a description and then say, okay. So you see it's being deleted from screen. How do I access this block that I just created? I just go to the insert block option, and you can see the window we created before now. And this is the door I just created. So I'll just select it. And then from the pick point, I go to where I want to drop it and then click to drop. And we have it like so. Now, if you see, if I hover around this, you'll see one item and it's now a block reference. Do you understand? Do you understand this? Do you understand how to create a block? Do you understand how to create a block? If you understand, please type understood. I'm waiting on you. Okay. 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 Okay, now we can continue. That's how you create a block. Of course, if in the future you want to edit this block, there are several ways to do that. The first one is to either double click on this block definition on screen and just double click on it. And it will take you to this dialog menu and you select any of them you want to edit. But I don't want to edit the window in this case. I just want to edit the door. So I'll select the door 900 and say, okay. So it will take me to the block editor. Yes, this is the block editor and it has this. So right here, I can actually edit the elements of this door. I can decide to say, okay, I want to make it a little bit fanciful. I want to make this line dotted. You can go and change the line type and make it the way you want, or you want to add some other things. You can just decide to edit it as you want. Let's say I want, let's say I want to create a line. Let's say I want line. And I want this line to run from this point to this point like so, and just keep it that way. Just to illustrate something anyway, not that it's really important. So you can edit your blocks using the block editor. So once I'm done, click on close block editor and it will ask me if I want to save the changes. I say yes, save changes. And then we have it like so, and it will be shown. Excuse me, I think there's an error somewhere. Okay, yes, so you see, I have it like so. We will click to drop. Something is missing, and okay, yes, that's of course, because the layer is turned off, you won't see it. Let me turn on that layer. Yes. The layer from which I created that line is turned off. I did not pay attention to that earlier, so I'm going to repeat that. Ctrl Z to undo our changes. undo this, undo this. Let me check if it's been on. No, it's not undone. So I'm going to go one more. Okay. So now I want to change the layer where this is. Great. I just highlight it and I go home and I change this to door layer. Then I close block editor and I save changes. So you see the changes effect and the effect of that changes, it's been made immediately. If you saw that, please type scene using the chat box. Oh, wow. Nobody saw it, right? Oh. Okay, so that is it for the editing part of block editor. Now, imagine you have more than one of these elements in this drawing. Imagine you have, this is not, let me just create a door here. I will have to create a door here. And this door needs to be on the wall. So I come here, set current. And I'll draw a line here. Indicate an end point of this. And I'll draw another line here of 900. And I come down by 100. Move this way. Okay, so that will be it. Move the dot to come this way. So let's delete this, and I will insert our door from using the insert dot tab. So I'm just going to click this, then click here to insert the door, and I'm going to repeat that command. And this time door 900, of course. The block name door 900, yeah. Okay, insertion point. I want the insertion point to be this place. Rotation and insertion scale. I need it to be the same size. So that's the same size, and then I rotate it towards this direction. Then we have it. I'm going to delete this and mirror this. So we have our door. You want to erase yes? No, I said no. I'm going to just move this upwards like so. Okay, so we have that in place. Now you can see how it is to create and maybe assess your block using your insert block options. So now I want to take off this line I created, and it's looking somehow because I just used that for an illustration. How do I do that? I double click on this, or I just highlight it and come here to edit, to block editor, and select block editor to open up the block editor for me. And when it does this, I just go over to the block I want to edit, and then I select OK. In this case, I just highlight what I want to delete, and then I delete it. And then I close block editor, of course. and save changes. You see, of course, it happened to all the blocks at once. This will save you the time it would have costed you to actually go over and over editing the blocks all over again. Do you understand this? Please, if you understand, use the chat box. Okay. Marishala, you back? And John Paul, did you see that? John Paul, did you understand that? If you understood this, please use the chat box. Okay, you just came back. Wow. Yes, I did that. I just edited the block using an option available here just by highlighting the blocks, going over to the block editor from this block panel right here, inside block panel right here, and then selecting block editor. Then I'll go over the same process, selecting the block I want to edit, click OK, then make my changes. After the changes is done, click close block editor, and then I'm good. Do you understand that? Do you understand this is the chat box? Okay, so let's continue, please. And we're going over to the next. Okay, let's continue, please. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please use the chat box. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is we are going to so now imagine you want to edit one of the blocks and leave the rest. In this case, let me do something. Okay, so we have that set. Imagine you want to edit one of these blocks separately and not let it affect the other ones. In this case, we have these two blocks. They are created from the same block definition. These two doors, rather. We have door 1 and door 2. We were created from the same block definition. Imagine you want to edit one of these doors and you don't want the effect of those changes to affect the other block properties. So you don't need to use the edit block or the block editor. How do you do that? You just highlight whatever you want to edit and you explode. Highlight whatever you want to edit and then you explode. How do you explode? Of course, you know the explode command is right. So you just click on explode and it's been exploded. So in this case, you can now edit this block definition as you want. So you can pick up the lines and edit them one after the other, like so, and you can effect your changes. Do you understand this? Please, if you understand this, use the chat box. Okay, so let's continue. Now, the next one is block reference from outside sources. Let's say you want to insert a block, but the block you want to insert is not within this drawing file. The block is in another drawing file. Let's say in this case, you have a drawing like so, and you want to insert, and this is supposed to be the bathroom, yeah? You want to insert something like a wash hand basin, or you want to insert the water closet seats right here, or let's say you want to insert some other utilities right here, and you don't have all those blocks in this particular drawing. You only have some few blocks like the door and the window definition and all that. So you want to insert something that is not in this drawing. How do you do that? There's an option for that. So if you want to insert a block that is not within this drawing area, you can just go to the View tab. And here that you have this, I have the properties, the blocks, the sheet set manager, and all that. You can just click on this, and it's called Design Center, AutoCAD or Autodesk Design Center. You just click on it. It will bring up one menu for you to select from. So now in this case, I was working on this design, so you can see this. But if you don't see this, you can actually go, it will open up something like this. Yes. Yes, it opened up something like this for you. So it just looks like a normal Windows Explorer, right? Can you see this? Can you see the design center? Okay, you can see the design center. Okay, now it's opened up something like this. Now it's for you to just go over to where the drawing where you have the block you want to copy or you want to add to your drawing. Now you have to navigate to that particular drawing file. In this case, I'm just going to search for it. I'll look for it at my work folder. So this is my work folder actually. So the drawing file I want to copy from is, should I use, okay, I'm going to use, let me use this one. No, I'm going to use this one, yeah. So I'll just select this one. I'll just double click on it rather. And it will open up some other thing. So now it's asking me, okay, this is a drawing file. What do you want to extract from this drawing file? You can actually extract blocks, you can extract detailed views, you can extract dimension styles, layers, and all that from this particular drawing file. In this case, I just want to extract the blocks. So, okay, I am going to repeat this again. I'll go up one, and I'm going to close this. So how I got there, rather, for you to access, let me go back to the home tab. Let's say, for instance, you want to import some drawings or some blocks to your current drawing file, and you don't have those blocks accessible from the drawing file. Let's say you only have these two blocks here, and you want to import an external block from another drawing. How do you do that? It's quite simple. You just go over to your View tab, and where you have your properties and blocks, you just go to this area where it says Design Center. Click on your Design Center. As you can see, like so, AutoCAD Design Center emulates the UI, like the interface of your Windows Explorer, so you can easily access the files you want to access. In this case, I want to access something from my work folder. So normally you will see something like desktop, like so. You see your desktop like so. It's loading up. Okay, normally you see your desktop, but that's not where I'm going to. I'm going to my work folder. So I'll just go to the work folder, and then I will look for the file I want to extract the block from. In this case, I'll go to ArcAD file. That's where I want to extract the blocks I want. So I'll just click on, I will double click on ArcAD file to open it up. So it will open up in this design center. Now, in this ArcAD file, I have so many other assets. Like I have blocks, I have detail views, I have dimension styles, I have layers, I have layouts, I have line types and all that. So what I want is not any of these for now, but I just want some blocks to get some blocks from this ArcAD file. So I'm just going to double click on these blocks to get the blocks out. So now you can see various types of blocks I have here. And I need something like a wash hand basin out of this file. Okay, I also need a shower. And let me just go for the wash hand basin. Oh, no, I'll go for the water closet. Yes, the toilet seats. And let me look for that. Okay, this is it. So I'm just going to select this. I'll have to double click on it. I need to bring up one dialog menu. To bring up a dialog menu also. Just stay with me. Okay. So you see it here. It brings up this dialog menu. So remember when I was talking about units and limits, I talked about importing things from other drawings and how you want to, the units you want to import them with. So in this case, we have this block in inches. If I had set my drawing unit in the current drawing file to import all other drawings with millimeters, it doesn't matter what this have here, it will just automatically convert it to millimeters. Do you understand what I just said? If you do, please type understood using the chat box. So, okay. So I'm just going to leave everything as it is and just click OK to insert my drawing. So in this case, it's asking me where I want to insert it, and that's where I have to close this so I can see what I'm doing clearly. In this case, I want to insert it here. I will adjust it later. I'll just click to insert. And then we have our toilet seats like so. So I'll need to go back home and use the rotate and scale command to rotate this. Highlight all of it, or highlight like so. So I have to deselect this. Okay, so we have that. Okay, so you see we have this here. You just have to group this. Okay. Highlight and rotate. So rotate this way. Okay. So I can move it now and place it where I want it to be placed. F8 to allow me place it wherever I want it to be placed. Okay, so I have it. So you can see how easy it is to import a block from an external drawing. This is just for the explanation of that. Please, if you understood what I just did, type understood using the chat box. Anybody understands? I moved and I rotated it. Yes. Now I'm about to scale it to fit in. Okay, so I think this is quite fitting. I'll just move it a little bit this way. Okay. So we have that. Now let me check my units to confirm that my insertion scales for external blocks and other things are in millimeters. Okay, of course they are in millimeters. So it means that this was automatically converted to that. Control C. I want to do something. I did copy that. I go over to edit block and toilet top. I want to edit this. Do Control A. Select all, delete, Control V to paste this one. And of course, we have this. And just edit it and make sure they are all grouped. Now, close this. Do not save. Discard changes. Come back to this, edit. I just want to group it. That's what I'm trying to do. So next time while we're trying to insert it, I don't have to go over the grouping process. Okay. So home. And I just click on group. Or join. Join will be better. Yes. This is a little bit better. Join. Okay. Then I can group. Then I save changes. Okay, now I'll delete this and try to insert that same. I'll need you to be in the furnitures. Now, make sure you pay attention to the layer from which you're inserting anything, because that's the property it's going to copy. So I'll just select this and drop it wherever I want to drop it, maybe here, the midpoints of this line, like so. And then I can rotate it using the rotate command. Select, enter, base point, and select this. Then rotate it like so, F8 to make it straight. Then I can now move it forward a little bit. Just like so. We'll have that. Do you understand this? Please, if you understand this, please type understood in the chat box. Okay, so now I believe you can create a block, you can edit an existing block, and you can import a block from an external drawing file. If yes, please type yes, use the chat box while I continue to the next one. Okay, now the next one is we're going to be talking about block attributes. Sometimes you want to add blocks, yeah, but these blocks has attributes. In this case, let me turn on something. Now, this is a title block. We all know what the title block is. Maybe. Yeah, I believe we all know what the title block is. Okay, in this case, it's a block that actually gives title to your drawing in layman's terms. Now, what it means is that it actually gives the description of whatever your drawing is about. So that's what this will be. Now, let me edit this title block in this case. Trim off this part. Okay, yes, we now have it like it's a typical title block. So now, let's say we have this. And this title block, of course, it indicates that, okay, this was designed by VEJ, it was checked by FTD, it was drawn by VEJ, by VEJ, I mean Victor Emmanuel James, and that is it. So, okay, now, these attributes here can be programmed in such a way that when you insert this block, you'll be given a dialog box to actually begin to impute the details of all these attributes. So now, how do you do that? Let's get started. I'm just going to delete all this. Delete all this. Delete this also. And delete this also. And okay. Let's see. Right back. Just give me a second. Let me set up part of it. Okay, so can you see the screen? Okay, so now let's say I want to insert this block, but whenever I want to insert this block, I want it to be that it gives me options to impute the details that are supposed to be in these blank spaces. How do I do that? I use block attributes, and we have it right here. You see the attributes option right here. So if I click on this define attributes, I can define attributes of whatever I want to be on these spaces. Now, I'll just ignore some of these things and just go over to this attribute section. Now, the tag is talking about when you are inserting this attribute, the tag that will be shown there. In this case, I'll just type name. The next one is prompts. What prompt do you want it to show you to enable you insert this name? So I will just say insert name of designer. That's for the first option, the first input option. Insert name of designer. Okay, that will be like that. For this, I'll leave it at default. And now the text settings, you want to set this also. First of all, you want to choose the text style. If you want it to be annotative, if you want it to be standard. In this case, we're going to be using a standard text. And the justification also, you select the justification, you can decide to use center. Center justifications justifies your text to the center. So I will use center justification. Now, the next one is this annotative text. I don't want annotative text for my block. So I'll just leave that box unchecked. And now the text height, of course, you can draw this using this, but I will just insert a value of, say, 60. It's my text height. And the rotation angle, I don't want my text to be rotated, so I'm not going to rotate this. And I'll just click OK. And like so, you see. If you notice, the color of my text is orange because it is actually taking the properties of the current layer. And that's not what I want. I want it to have its own layer. But for now, I'm just going to click to drop and then change the layer later on. So I'm just going to click here, to drop it like so. And I have to attribute the second one, which is checked. That is the person that checked the drawing. So in this case, let me just go here and change this layer to layer 0. And sorry, take this, change it to layer 0. And I'll make it current. Now I need to add another attribute. I repeat the same process. Attributes, go over the same thing, just the name, checked by, just type checked by. Underscore, you don't put spaces in this tag. So I'm just going to use underscore there, checked by. So yeah, you can put a space. This value, of course, default, left, center, and all this will be left like so because already we have been set. Select OK, and I drop it like so. Right there. So this will have the name of the designer. This will have the person that checked the drawing. The next one, the person that drew this drawing, of course. And I am going to edit that also. Repeat attributes. Tab drawn by, sorry. Sorry, no spaces permitted. So I'm going to use underscore. It says spaces permitted actually. Default value. This should be center, standard, and all. I'll make it like so and keep it here. Okay, the next one is scale. Now you want to put your drawing scale. In this case, it's not drawn to scale, so that also matters. But okay, I want to do that also. Let me just repeat. Scale, and the prompt should be drawing scale. And then, of course, the justification, center, and all default. So I'll just drop this here. Uh-oh. This is where it gets messy. So I need to move this. Something is wrong somewhere. Let me just move it. Okay, so that is it. So now we have all these attributes selected. Please pay attention. This is a very crucial part. And of course, this sheet number takes the same process. So I'm just going to delete this. No, I won't delete it. I will just create an attribute for it. The same process, the same thing. Just the difference here will be the sheet, the name, the tag, and then the height. So I'll make this sheet number. Sorry. I'll make this sheet number. Sheet number, and then the prompt will be insert sheet number. And then, of course, to be aligned to center. And this text, I'll have to draw the text height to suit what we have here too. So F8 to make it straight. And then like so, I'll draw it. So we have 203. I'll make it 200, text height 200. And I'll click enter. I'll just drop it here. And this is not too good. Okay, let's leave it like so. And delete the previous one. I'll delete the previous one. Don't panic, don't worry. When we insert the sheet number, it will come in normal. So now let's make a block from this. How do you do that? You go to the create block option. Then now you need to name your block, in this case, title block. And after that, you can decide, after that, you can decide some of these parameters, okay? Where you want to pick your block from. Of course, I want to be picking it from this endpoint. And then the next options are available for you to edit also. Let's make those changes. Select objects. Now, this is very important. Pay attention, please. If I select this option, I need to select all these attributes in the order I want them to be displayed or to be prompted. How do I do that? Okay, I select the name first. I want the name to appear first. I want the checked by to appear second. I want the drawn by to appear third. And then the scale. And then the sheet number. That's how I want it to appear. And once I'm done with all these things, then I can now highlight all of them together. Please pay attention. Then I click enter on my keyboard. So now you see, I've selected all those. Now the next thing to do is to, of course, if you want to adjust all these other things, so maybe put some description. This is a title block with attributes. Okay, so once we're done, just click OK. And now, because we selected the delete option, the title block was deleted immediately it was created. So now to insert a title block for this drawing, you just go over to your insert block option. And then you select the title block. See it created there. Once I select the title block and I click on where I want to drop this title block, like so, it will give me a prompt. To give me this prompt, I will repeat that. Ctrl Z to undo this. Okay, I'll repeat it so you see how it works. Click on title block and the point I want to place my title block. So I want it to be placed like so. Now you see the prompts it brings, this particular prompt. Now you see, insert name of designer was the first one. According to what we chose there, insert name of designer, this drawing was checked by, and the drawing was drawn by, drawing scale, insert sheet number. So I'm just going to write Victor for this. The next one is checked by, of course, I checked it. Okay, no, checked by Omoroshola. Omoroshola checked it. Right? Omosho, you checked it. If you checked it, please use the chat box, say check. And the next one is drawn by, of course, John Paul drew it. And the drawing scale, it was not to scale, so I'm just going to use n.t.s for not to scale. And then the next one is insert sheet number. The sheet number was 005, I remember. Once I'm done with this box, I'll just click OK. And you have all those fields like so. If you're not satisfied with the way they are arranged, you can come over here, double click on this. Of course, it will take you to the block editor. Take it to the block editor, and then you edit the way you want it to be displayed. Properties, sheet number, or you explode it. In this case, I think I'll have to explode it. Explode this block, explode. Let's go back to this level. So I'll do this. Just give me a moment. I'm just going to remove this value and apply. And next option. That was 200. I want it to be aligned to the left. 0.05. Let's see fit option. Well, it's giving me something that I want, so I think I'll just have to remove it. I'll just remove this value for now and insert it later and say okay. So we have all others set to what we want except the sheet number, and that we can insert it later on after we rectify. Please, if you understood this, use the chat box. Please, if you understood this process, use the chat box. Did you understand it, Omoishola? If you understood, please type understood using the chat box. Hello, please. It's just simple drawing of rectangles. See, these are rectangles. You just draw your rectangle. Okay, you understood. Just lines. Look at it. It's the same thing as you have. Just draw it according to what you want to be shown. No standard dimension for this. No standard dimension for this. As far as it is going to accommodate your drawing, it is good. As far as it is going to accommodate your drawing, for your title block, you don't have any standard dimension as far as it is going to accommodate your drawings. Most people, they use your drawing paper, the paper size as your dimensioning. So in some cases, you see people using a dimension of 420 and 029. 420 and what's around 279 rather for A3 paper. This 420, 420 millimeters, and 279, I think, yeah. Yes, 420 millimeters and 279 millimeters for A3 size paper. People use this, and then they will scale it up to their drawing. So, you can scale it by 5 or by 10 to fit your drawing, or you scale your drawing down by whatsoever number to fit in this paper size. If you understood this, please say understood. Okay. So we can move on to the next one. Now we just did something using attributes. The next thing I would want to talk about is using tables in AutoCAD. This is also very important because sometimes you want to be managing your drawings and you want to use tables, and sometimes you want to import tables from Excel. It's quite easy to do that, to create a table, to import from Excel and all that. It's quite easy to do that. How do you create a table? There's an option for table creation right here. You just click on it, and it will bring up this dialog menu for you. Okay. by seeing the dialog menu, you want to edit the options there to suit whatever you want to create. In this case, let's say you want to create, or you want to import from Excel. If you want to import from Excel, you can just click on from a data link. If you want to create from Excel, just click on from a data link, like so, and it will give you this option, no data link found. So you have to create your own data link by clicking on this button. Launch the data link manager. So create new Excel data link. Now you have to name your Excel data link. In this case, I don't have any Excel document here, but let me just do something. So now you have to name the Excel data link. In this case, I'll call it something very, very, very useless and random. And say OK. Now you have to browse for that data link from this. If you have any Excel sheet that already has data on it, you can browse with this. You can browse, go to wherever the file is, and then click on the file. And once you click on the file, path type, just leave it as native path, and then click on this OK button. It will bring that file to AutoCAD. Once you click on this OK button, it will take you to this place. Click OK, take you back here. Just click OK, and it will import that file. In our next class, I think I'll create a file for that. But for today, we're just going to create from empty table. We're just going to create a file from an empty table. And how do you do that? Just click on this start from empty table. And of course, you want to use standard. And this is where you edit your text properties. So you can come here, your table text properties rather. You can come here and click on modify. Click on modify. From this modify, of course, you know a table has a title and it has data, and also they have what we call headers after the title. But for this class, we're just going to be using the data and the title option. The header is almost the same thing, but we'll talk about that also. So now, for the title, you want to edit how your title looks. You want to edit how the title will be looking. General table direction, you want your table to be going down and not coming upward. So, of course, the down is okay. And for these general properties, you can choose your fill color, and you can choose any of these colors to be your fill color. If I choose red, of course, you see the title, the fill part of the title will be red, and I don't want that. I'll go back to by layer. No, none. I don't want it to have any fill color. Now, the alignment of this title, you can select it here. I selected middle center. You can decide to put bottom right, bottom left, and according to how you want to justify it. The next one is format. This format is talking, of course, it emulates an Excel sheet. So it's talking about the format of or how you want your text to be displayed. You want it to be displayed in angles, and you want it to be a currency, you want it to be a date, decimal number, and all that. You can select any of these, but for now, I'm going to be using this general purpose. Or I can decide to use text. For in this case, I'll just use general purpose and say OK. Now the type label, of course, you leave it as label, not data, because it's a title. It's a label, not data. Now the margin size. The margin is talking about the distance between this title, this text, and this for the horizontal margin, and then this text, the top of this text to this border for the vertical margin. So as you can see, for the horizontal and the vertical margin, I inserted 150, 150 respectively. Since the text is small, it won't pay attention to the horizontal margin, but of course, the vertical margin will be respected. If I increase this to 300, you will see the difference made, like so. So I'm just going to make it 150 as it was. If you saw that, please type same using the chat box. If you saw that changes, type same using the chat box. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to be talking about is the text. This part is talking about the text height, and it's talking about the text style, the text color, and all. You can decide to change the text color, make it red. I don't know, I like using red as an example. I'll go by layer because I want it to take the properties of the layer I'm going to be inserting it with. So now the next one is the text height. Of course, I set it to be 350 because that's how I want it to be displayed. You can decide to choose any text height of your choice. And always remember that whatever you choose as your text height will determine the height of the row of that text. So if I use 15, you will see that it actually adjusts this when we insert the table. It will adjust the row, the height of this row. So I'll go back to 350. I think it was 350. Right? Was it 350? Oh, yes, 350. So then the text style, of course, you want to make it standard and not annotative. If you want to use annotative text, of course, you know what it means. So you can decide to use an annotative text in this case. Or you load new text styles, which I'm not going to do here. And you want to edit the borders, you can do that using this option. And I don't want to edit the borders. So now I'll just have to click on OK for this. I'll have to set current and close this window. Now, I've edited the title. The next one is I can go and edit that of the data. That one was just for the title. I can go and modify that for the data, and it's still the same process. You just have to change this to data or header respectively. You want to edit the headers. So I don't want to edit any of those. So I'll just click cancel and cancel to go off. The next thing I want to pay attention to, I'll talk about this place, and it's this area right here. Let's talk about this area. Now, the first one was specify insertion points. This specify insertion point means that you're just going to specify the insertion point, and it will create a table with these parameters. You're just going to specify an insertion point, and AutoCAD will create a table with these parameters. And of course, you can control these parameters. The first parameter is talking about the column row settings. Okay, yes, this one is talking about the column. Now, how many number of columns do you want? You can insert that. Let's say you want 5 columns. You can insert that. Now, the next one is column width. How do you want, what's the size of your column width? What size would you like your column width to be? You have to insert that. Of course, I chose 3,000. The next one is data rows. This is the column, and this is the column width, like so. If you can see my screen, this can be seen as a column, the vertical members, and the column width is the horizontal line of each vertical member. Yes, that's the column width. So this is the column width, 3,000, and we will have at least 5 columns. Now, the next one is talking about data rows. Of course, these are data rows, like so the horizontal spaces. That's the data row, and I need just 2 data rows. As you can see, we can increase it to 3 in this case. Now, this data row height is something you need to pay attention to. This data row height is talking about the text height times any number you impute here. Let's say you impute 5 in this case. So it will give the height of your row, that is this height. It will multiply it by your text height. Let's say your text height is 150. Yes, your text height is 150 millimeters. And you put, your text height is 200, and you put 5. It means that it will multiply that 200 by 5 and give you that size as your row height. Do you understand this? If you understand this, please type understood, what I just explained. If you understand it, please type understood using the chat box. Okay. Okay. So now that is it. In this case, I don't want it to be times 5. I just want it to be 1. So I'm just going to do type 1 because I want it to be exactly the height of the text plus the border offset. Now, sorry, the border margin rather. Now that's what I want. And the cell styles, you can set your cell styles. I want a title to be available. After the title, I don't want header. I just need data, and I need data. So you see, it takes off the header part. If I put header, now you see the header there. I don't want any header. I just want data from the title. So after the title, I want it to display the data part of the table. So I'll just click OK. And then I specify where I want to place my tables. And of course, my table will be placed like so. So I can start typing. Of course, the first one is the title. I can say the title will be door schedule. Okay. Now you can decide to edit any of these properties to fit in what you want. You can edit your text style. Because you can see it's standard, in this case, RL 2.8, and the text height was 350 for the, it was 350 for this. Okay. So now text height is 350. And if you're done, you can just click out or press enter or tab to go to the next tab. Like so. When you go to the next tab, you insert anything you want to insert. You can say name of whatever tab to go to the next tab, and you continue like so until you're done. Once you're done, you just click on close editor and you have it like so. Do you understand what I just did with the tables? If you understand, please use the chat box, say understood. If you understand, please use the chat box, say understood. If you have any challenges, please, you can indicate. We're coming to the end of today's class. Okay, I have to repeat myself once more, and this time very fast because. Okay, now let's get started. I'll have to delete this. I said in AutoCAD, you can actually define or create tables to aid your drawing management. Let's say you want to create a table that will show the details of all windows. So you can say you create a table to show window schedule of this particular drawing. How do you do that? You go to this annotate panel and click on this table option. It will bring up a menu for you. And this menu will aid you to actually set the properties of whatever you want to be displayed on this table, or how you want the table to be displayed. In this case, you can decide to create a table from an existing table. That is, you have an Excel sheet on your system. So you can go to from a data link and follow the process by clicking this, create a new Excel data link. Of course, you have to name the data link. Let me just make it this and say, okay. And it will take you to a place where you have to go browse for the data file. You can go browse for the data file if you have any of those data files, let's say desktop, and you have something like this, but this is an empty Excel sheet, there's nothing in it. So if you have this, just say open, and it will open something like that. Cannot be assigned because this data sheet is empty, it cannot really be assigned. So I'll just have to close it. In the next class, I'll talk about exporting from other from an Excel sheet. But for now, let's start from an empty table. So start from an empty table. You just go and you create the parameters from the settings you have here. You want 5 columns, and you want the width of these columns to be 3,000. You want 3 data rows, and of course, row height. Like I said earlier, this row height will actually emulate the size of your text. And how do you set or edit the size of your text? You just go to this option right here, launch the table style dialog. Once you launch this dialog, you can actually modify the properties of this table from there. Okay. Like you can see, we have general, we have text, and we have borders. For the general, we have fill color, alignment, format, label, and all that. And we have margins. This margin is talking about the distance between the horizontal distance between your text and the border lines. The horizontal and vertical distances, rather, between your text and the border line. So let's say your text is this, and of course, these are the border lines, these lines you see here. So this 150 for the horizontal border line, if this text was long enough to this endpoint, you see that it will give a margin of at least 150 units before the border line. And for the vertical border margin, you already see here that it has a difference of about 150 units, because I did insert 150 units here. So that is it. Now, the next thing I'll be talking about is the text. Of course, the text is as it is. We have the standard text. I don't want an annotative or any kind of text. I just want the standard text. And the text height, you should pay attention to this, is 350. So that's what I want to talk about here. And the borders, you can edit the borders to what you want. Like, so it's quite simple. So once you're done editing this, you can just click OK. I'll just do a cancel because I had already set it before now. And after clicking OK, set current, make sure you always set current, and then close. Now it's take you back to this place. Now, this row height is talking about your text height times any number you put here. So if I impute 2, like so, it means that it will multiply my text height by 2 and adopt that as the row height. So this is the row height, this height, like so. So if I impute 2, in fact, I'll do 2 this time, and say OK, and drop it like so. And I start typing, I say Victor, the title is window schedule. Okay, and I click out to just effect my changes. Now you see, it multiplies this text height by 2 and makes it the height of this row. If you understand this, please type understood using the chat box. Okay, so having understood that, I think we've come to the end of today's session. Thank you for attending today's class. If you have any question, you can send them to the Slack channel and I'll respond to them. Thank you very much. Post over to you.